welcome to my fellow mentally ills. When I was 25 on life-altering major depressive episode 2 of 4, I climbed to the 3rd floor of a yellow house on the top of a hill every week, where a kind woman in a cardigan and glasses offered me a cup of lavender and chamomile tea and asked me questions like, what do you like to eat? Heads up, I am going to be talking about food in this video, and while I am not referring to disordered eating specifically, I know that some of my stories could be difficult for people with that experience, so if this is not going to be a good time for you, please do choose a different video to watch, and I will see you next time. She asked me what I like to eat. Not because this was a getting to know you session. I'd already been seeing her for months, but by then she knew how often I spent laying on the rug in my apartment that we'd found on the side of the road, simply waiting to feel differently than I felt. What did I like to eat wasn't a consideration. What did I like? Nothing. I couldn't find joy in anything, and that's not like quirky or special. If you're depressed, and I'm worried if in all of this you're not depressed, it makes it hard to do very simple, normal things that are an important part of being alive. And when we start skipping some of those things, say showering or leaving one's apartment, the other things become even harder. For me, at that time, on that couch with that tea, feeding myself regularly was the hardest of all of them. Every day at dinner time, I was like, I don't know how you expect me to solve this problem again that I've already solved twice today. It is too much. You're asking for entirely too much. So then the purpose of eating was for quieting that annoying, achy feeling so that I could just go back to feeling nothing. I'm not the only person to have this experience, I know. There used to be a single-serve tumbler dedicated to finding the humor in sad people's sad meals. So let's reclaim it, I've decided. Let's go through the things that I've eaten during low points in my life and rank them. I know there's a whole format for this. I'm not gonna use it because I'm not a nerd. But we're gonna do it like, I don't know, like pitchfork style ratings, starting with 2 children's applesauce pouches eaten quickly in succession. I think my logic here is that 1 applesauce pouch is not enough food, so eat 2, but that's still not enough food. I have some in my fridge right now though. They're great for illness, hangovers, the problem of I'm cooking but I'm too hungry to wait for the thing that I'm cooking to be finished cooking. You can eat them with one hand. You can eat them in bed and not worry about making a mess. I've been told many times to tend to my inner child, and you know how I do that? I feed her 2 applesauce pouches. 6.2 out of 10. Dry handfuls of Honey Nut Cheerios straight out of the box. Because millennials killed breakfast cereal, this isn't a thing that I buy often or keep around regularly. I wasn't even into the cereal that much as a kid, but every so often I have memories of Honey Nut Cheerios being sweet and a little spiced and having these craggled edges like a delicious lacy ring of honey and carbs that flashes in my mind, and I don't know if they made them healthier since then or I just got older because they don't taste the same. When you eat them dry, they taste dry. 2.8 out of 10. Personal sized Digiorno frozen pizza. In my early 20s, I bought many of these at the QFC on Broadway in Seattle that no longer exists, that was next to the Urban Outfitters that also no longer exists. But this requires you to be willing to wait about 18 minutes to cook it and then cut into it, probably more like 25 minutes if you don't want to burn the roof of your mouth. But if you're sad and this is the first thing that sounded appetizing in weeks, of course you're going to burn the roof of your mouth. The only thing that sucks about these is that there's simultaneously too much pizza for one person and also not enough. I think you're supposed to eat like something else with them, like that it's part of a well-balanced meal. But if we were well-balanced, we wouldn't be eating this in the first place. 5.5 out of 10. And protein bar. Because I was once told that protein is good for emotional stability, so I should eat a snack with protein in it if I was feeling nervous or sad. And I don't know if any of that is true, but the mini chocolate coconut RX bars do go hard. 7 of 10. An oat milk latte and a croissant. Good because it gets you out of the house. Good because you're getting it because you're gonna treat yourself. You're doing it because you're like, I'm gonna be nice to me today. I'm gonna start my day well. I'm gonna turn my life around. Bad because you're gonna weight it too heavily in your mind. Like, good job me on that breakfast that I just ate, but then it's gonna be 5 hours later and you're gonna be like, why does my head hurt? And it's gonna be because you didn't just eat breakfast, you ate breakfast half a day ago, and you need to eat lunch and dinner too. 4.6 out of 10. A bag of croutons, it was in the cupboard, 1.0. And finally, my definitive depression meal. That day when my therapist asked me what I liked to eat, it was so that I could make plans to keep whatever it was around. When I failed to be able to answer the question, she asked me what would be easy. What could I get into my stomach without a lot of effort? For some people, it's like pasta with a canned sauce. Some people, it's gonna be a PB&J sandwich. But that's how I went 6 months of my life eating mostly quesadillas. See, I like cheese, I like bread, I love a grilled cheese sandwich, and a grilled cheese sandwich loves me, but bread and cheese are both things that go bad. Now, tortillas, you can store in the fridge pretty much indefinitely. Cheese, sure, tastes better if you buy a block of artisanal Wisconsin cheddar and grate it yourself, but that's a luxury of mental stability that we cannot afford. So 4-cheese Mexican blend Sargento, the kind that comes in a bag and is dusted with potato starch to prevent clumping, it is. I ate so many quesadillas. If I was really feeling special, quesadillas and an apple or a pear. I wouldn't say exclusively, but 80% of my meals were quesadillas for half a year. They did what they had to do, but I understandably had a mental block around them after I started to get better. It almost felt that eating a quesadilla was a sign of weakness. You buy the stuff for them, it means you're getting bad again. If you need them, it means you're gonna lay down on that rug and never get up. But fuck, you've got the gene to digest lactose. The quesadilla didn't make you sick. If melted dairy between 2 tortillas does anything to help you get up off the floor and fight, then bitch, buy the quesadilla things. Because survival, then as now, is a 9.7 out of 10. In comments, tell me about your goofiest depression meals, or tell me about the things that make life a little easier to manage. I think we could all use some of them right now. This video was brought to you by the Radish Collective, my community of Patreon supporters. Join them at patreon.com/itsradishtime. I will see you soon. Bye.